if I can get these players to go and empty the tank in 90 minutes in a game, show a bit of passion and pride in the place, I would be hopeful that may get the crowd in and keep them coming back, regardless of whether that's good enough to win these games or not.
He came, he didn't promise us anything, and the first year we were happy enough, and the second year we were promoted. And I'll never forget that night in Finn Park, running down the middle of the pitch. I think I was maybe the first to run out to him, and all he said was mighty Ann, mighty Ann. But he gave us great memories in Finn Park. He did a hell of a lot for Finn Harps and for the players that played for him, and not only the players that came here to Finn Park. From the Waynes, and no matter where you'll go, you'll meet children and young fellas now, or men, that'll have said that they have played for Ollie Horgan, or they played under Ollie Horgan.
I remember when he got the job initially, and I was in work, and I got a call from McHugh. Kev's rang me, and he said, like, I think Ollie's getting this job, And I was like, geez, I didn't even know he was in for the job. But apparently he did a good interview, and maybe what he was willing to do for maybe a lot less money than maybe someone else or some other names that were mentioned at the time. So look, he came in, and typical Ollie fashion, it was a no frills approach, and what he definitely brought to us was, he made us a difficult team to beat. He made us tough and resilient, and I always felt we had a decent squad at that time, and he needed to add a bit of experience maybe in certain areas, but I felt everyone was ready to make that next step and maybe try and get into the Premier Division.
Ollie initially signed for us in 1989 as a player, when he moved from Galway to Letterkenny to take up a teaching role in St Eunan's College. Ollie was a tough tackling left back, and was also accomplished in midfield, and was also a very accomplished goalkeeper, which people might not know, and he helped us out on several occasions. During his playing career, he won numerous Ulster Senior League titles with us, and much other cups, including the 1995 Intermediate Cup.
Ollie was an icon in the league. He was so well respected, and he earned that respect from his hard work. The best thing I could say about him is when you mentioned Ollie Horgan, all you had to do was say was Ollie, and they knew, everybody in the football fraternity knew who you were chatting about.
Heavy enough touch, but he gives it back to Sean Kelly. Kelly looks up, takes a shot. Yes! The most unbelievable strike. 25 yards.
A few chances, half chances down in Limerick that we nearly got level late on in the second half in that game, and then that was one that I just remember the evening, the night, the pitch, the crowd, the atmosphere, everything about it was just a great experience. And then the way, obviously, getting ourselves back into it early on, and the greatest compliment that he could ever give you was to pick you every week, and that's how you knew that you were doing a good job for him. So yeah, he very much, I think, coming to that stage, he was starting to maybe give us a bit more responsibility and take a bit more ownership ourselves. So yeah, look, it was a fantastic night, and look, once that ball hits the back of the net, you're in dreamland, for the want of a better word.
Limerick defender also. It's away, back out towards McDonald. Banda! BJ Banda has got the goal that will send Finn Harps surely up into the Premier Division. Unbridled joy around Finn Park as players and supporters celebrate.
Ollie Horgan, a fantastic night for you personally and everybody involved with Finn Harps Football Club. Yeah, it's a great night for the club, great night for the players in there, great night for the management team, great night for the board, Chris. As I said to the lads in there, there's people that have kept this place going through thick and thin, through plenty of bad days, and you get the little rub of green here tonight, and it's because of those people that this place is still alive and kicking, and you saw how alive and kicking it was tonight, Chris.
Ollie to play under was probably my favourite manager to play under so far in my career. He just expected nothing less than 100% from the players, and I think that's why we got on so well. We had a good relationship, and he trusted me to play for him, and it shows. He signed me back from Linfield. We always kind of kept in contact when I was playing with other clubs. It boiled down to hard work. If you're not willing to work hard and go out there and give your all for the team, then you are not good to him. But if you gave everything and you worked hard, he'd have the utmost respect for you and believe in you, as he did for me. Yeah, I love playing for Ollie. He was great. Not only a good manager, but a great person. Like, I think that's thrown around a lot, but I don't think it can be truer for anyone, other than him. Like, that's him. He was a really, really, really good person.
First time I ever sort of met him in person. I mean, obviously I would have known him from a distance through broadcasting matches and stuff down through the years. But the first time I met him, I was up in Ballybuffet. I was just up there to watch a match. I wasn't actually working, but I thought the best place for me anyway in Ballybuffet to watch a game is the press box, or in particular the camera gantry. Great view of the pitch, right on the halfway line, nice height and everything. And so with my little pass, I was able to get up to the press box and then up the stairs up to where the cameras were. And as I got up there, about, I suppose, 15 minutes before kickoff maybe, there was the bold Ollie and the two cameramen. And first thing he did was, turn around and said, how are you doing? He knew me from having done Monday Night Soccer in the past and stuff. And how you gone? How's things? And this is 10 minutes before his team is about to play against Shamrock Rovers, and he turned around and said, will you have a cup of tea? And he went over to the table where there was a kettle and the tea bags and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought it was lovely that he'd think of doing that so close before kickoff in an important match for his team, and yet he'd still welcome you and make you a cup of tea and make you feel at home. As it happens, actually, I didn't stay there because he was suspended, which is why he was up in the camera gantry and not in the dressing rooms. But it's a moment that struck me, because I can't imagine too many other managers in the league then or since who would have been so kind of just decent and will you have a cup of tea just before his team was about to take to the field against Shamrock Rovers. One of the things about Ollie, and you'll notice that if you look back at old videos that he did, or old interviews that he did, he had a great habit of saying the interviewer's name in his answer. So he'd go, well, Con, I think we did very well today, blah, blah, blah. And it's a lovely little touch. I think interviewers, people who are in the television industry, I think in general tend to have egos a bit, and they like to have those egos stroked. And when a manager actually says the interviewer's name, it just gives the interviewer a nice feeling, I suppose.
We kept them up because throughout the season, especially at the start when unfortunately results were going our way, the team never lost shape, we never lost our discipline, but more importantly, we never lost the belief.
You can nearly do the coaching here. Yeah, that is true, but there's only so many trains you can go to the well, and we've gone to the well a hell of a lot of trains in the last 5 to 6 years now. Mm-hmm. And there's only so many trains you can go to.
You've had this strange season so far, 4 good games, 4 not so good games, and now a win here. After the first set of matches, how are you feeling?
Look, it's not even, you don't take stock till the 36 games are played. We 2 years ago we were sitting on 2 points for the first 13 games, Stephen, and we're doom and gloom, and we won the first 2 games here. All of a sudden we're going to Europe. It's neither. We're hoping it's neither, to put it that way to you. Look, they're very related.
Europe would be nice though, Ollie.
Huh?
Europe would be nice though.
Well, yeah, Kilkee or somewhere might be good enough for us, But,
we can't even get out of the country at the moment.
So a bit of history has been created tonight in the Marker Bar. This is the first time since the bar was actually opened that somebody went up to the bar with a checkbook, and that was Ollie Horgan. Ollie, did you get any change to the checkbook?
No, they were checking it out first of all there. See, were we okay? No, I paid cash, so we were okay. We're okay so far. Yeah.
You pay money, yeah?
Yeah, in coins, mind you. But anyway, please God, when or if the stadium comes on board, that we would love to be in the Premier Division. But as it stands at the moment, like we would be, favourites by a long way to go straight back down. And,
you are a very negative man, Ollie. Like, you're always like this. Are you that bad in the dressing room? I have a good story about Ollie Horgan. So they overcame Limerick somehow in the playoff, and Limerick were big favourites, and all the boys are mad going celebrating in the dressing room, all the music to beat the band, and Ollie says to them, lads, you may as well enjoy this because you're going straight back down. Was that actually true?
I said, were you in the changing room?
But are you that negative in the dressing room?
No, don't get me wrong. No. To be fair, no, we've some great days, some very positive days. But, the reality, there's no point in me saying, yeah, we'll go on, we'll get to Europe. Like, we might get to Lourdes, Johnny, is where we might.
Can you bring me with you?
I really feel what Ollie achieved at Finn Harps. I'm not sure anyone could have done the job he did at Finn Harps, given just the difficulties involved of managing a club up there and trying to get people to play for a club, basically, and the extreme edge of almost Western Europe, and in an Irish context, a club with very, very little money, playing on a pitch basically unattractive to players there. Then when he came to Galway United, the record of Galway United whilst he was there versus when he wasn't there, it's quite stark how much of an improvement that he brought to things. And Ollie was, I don't know about his coaching ability, I never played under him, but I do feel he was a very good judge of players. And you hear stories, sadly a lot of them you hear, as with many people, you hear them after the passing of a person, but some great stories about his ability to get players to play for him and why they got to play for him. Sometimes they couldn't really explain, but they just spoken to him, and he had that magic way with people. He really had a magic way with people, and ultimately he was just a brilliant people person. And I'd say he was the type of person that could be in the same room as anyone of any so-called class or walk of life, and he could make that person feel at home, and that person would be better for Ollie having been there.
Obviously, we all know Ollie's very intense. He's very passionate, and which I enjoy and which I love. When a manager has that same passion, that I believe I have. And I remember, I think we were playing Bohemians away, and I think I got a red card like in the first 10 minutes. I don't think it was a red, but after the game, yeah, he drilled me. But he came to me and he was just like, and you need to be better, this and that. And for me, I needed that. I like to have a reality check. When I look back on it now, yeah, it was a crazy moment. And I remember when I think we were playing Sligo, and obviously if you know Ollie, he wants you to get stuck in. He wants you to press, and for me as a striker, that's everything, And I remember him telling me always, running behind, don't come to feed everything, and use your pace. And every single day, every single training session, he'd be on me. And I remember against Sligo, I think he got a red card during the game, and we ended up winning the game, I think 3-2. But I remember when he got the red card, he was on the side because he couldn't be on the bench. And I just remember him just yelling, just going at me, just telling me press, loving it, everything about it. And, for me, that was just that was amazing because, it just shows how passionate and it shows how much of a legend he is. And, I really do enjoy that. Like I said, it's Ollie's, I believe, is one of the best managers I played for. Really got the most out of me, more than, I expected of myself.
With manager Ollie Horgan serving a touchline ban but nonetheless shouting encouragement, Harps had a chance to draw level through Killian Cantwell, but Mark Salmon on the line got his body in the way to make the necessary block. McCabe then had a chance to extend Bray's lead. He got in behind the Harps defence to latch on to Aaron Green's knockdown, but blazed over the top. In truth, he should have done better. Extremely tough now for Harps. They had shouts for a penalty when Kieran O'Connor tried to get on the end of Kayla McAlear's cross. And coming together with Keith Buckley, Aaron Green picked up the ball just outside his own box and set off. Ollie Horgan called on his players to work to win the ball back, But those appeals went unheard as Green struck Bray into a 3-0 lead. Marvellous run by Green.
Hello there, Jeremy Doherty here, sports reporter, and I'm proud to say a friend of Ollie Horgan's from my time at St Eunan's College when I was on the under-16 team at the school, a team that went all the way to the All-Ireland final that year, and our manager was Ollie Horgan, who had just joined the teaching staff at the college, having moved up to Donegal from Galway. He was a legend of the League of Ireland, and as a sports reporter he was a dream to work with. Often when we met up each week ahead of a big game, we'd have a chat, we'd arrange a meeting, and our interview would be preceded by just chatting about the everyday things. How was work going? How are all the family? What about the Donegal GAA? And then when Ollie was ready to do the interview, he would just say, "Okay, go ahead." So, well, listen, his time as manager of Finn Harps has been well documented. He was an unbelievable manager, and he brought Harps to a different level, playing in the Premier Division for so many years of his time there in charge. And the tributes that have come for Ollie across the League of Ireland show just how respected and admired he was by other League of Ireland managers, by players, and by supporters of other clubs.
Probably my first experience of Ollie, I think I was still a player and playing against this Fanad team actually in the FAI Cup for Longford. Really tough game. We came through, but probably then when my own coaching started, when I retired, and my first real experience with Ollie was when I was manager of Shelbourne in 2015 and 16, and Finn Harps were in the league, and very quickly developed a really good relationship with Ollie. Very hard not to. People go on about him on the touchline and stuff, and probably something I'm a little bit like myself, although I don't think I've mastered it just yet. But even you'd meet at different coaching seminars and maybe awards, PFAI awards. I sat with him actually at one PFAI awards with a great night. Just a really, really good fella, and his achievements with Fanad first of all, and then obviously Finn Harps is the one everyone mainly speaks about. Obviously he went on to have good success alongside John at Galway, but what he did at Finn Harps was nothing short of incredible. As a measure of the man, the amount of players, and I've signed a few players from that played with him, played for him with Finn Harps, and they would have done anything for Ollie.
And Borg doesn't let him turn, so that means Maguire has to go back again to Sean Kelly, whose ball up isn't great, and that means that Harps can break because Keith Coyle won the header up to Nathan Boyle. Ball in towards Mark Timlin inside the area. Chance for Mark Timlin. Goal for Finn Harps. Mark Timlin has scored a goal for Finn Harps. And the visitors are in front in injury time at the end of the first half. Declan, Keith Cohen won the ball. Nathan Boyle was fed the pass into Mark Timlin. And as the Finn Harps supporters are way to our left, who are celebrating.
Oh, what a goal, what a goal, what a time.
As Harps win possession back, and that's a great ball from John Kavanagh. Nathan Boyle racing into the box. Shot comes in from Nathan Boyle, and Nathan Boyle has found the bottom corner of the back of the net. And Finn Harps, Declan Boyle are going back into the Premier.
Oh, what a goal, brilliant, superb.
When the phone did ring, I had a look at it and I was thinking, who's this? Who could this be? And I remember answering it, and just the fella on the other end of the phone was just speaking 100 miles an hour, big strong accent. I couldn't make out a word he was saying, and he finally got him to slow down, and yeah, it was Ollie, and I remember laughing at him going straight out like, Ollie, that's never going to happen, like, you know, it's too far and it's this and that. And you know, he was having none of it. He told me to go sleep on it, and he'd ring me the next day, and yeah, first thing in the morning rang me the next day saying he was on the way up and had to come meet him. So you know, the fact that he was straight up the next day coming to meet me was, you know, he kind of let me no choice, I had to go meet him. But yeah, like I remember walking into the Maldron, and you know, we stayed there for a good, it was the Maldron up in Tala there, across from Tala Stadium, and we stayed there for a good hour and a half, just talking absolute nonsense, hardly talking football at all. And you know, I was just drawn in by the madness of it straight away. And I remember leaving the meeting actually and ringing my dad straight away going, I don't know how we're going to do this, but I'm going to probably sign. And I don't know how it's going to work out or how we're going to get around doing it, but you know, it's just kind of knew straight away after meeting him. And it was actually funny because I remember our last meeting, it was in the Malden again, it was in the evening time this time, and we shook hands on the deal, and I remember him jumping up straight away going, right, need to get a picture straight away, need a picture. It was like he wanted to get the picture and send it back to them to get the news out before I could change my mind or something. You know what he's like, ever the pessimist. And but there was just a couple just having a meal just behind where he was sitting, and no bother to Ollie, just straight in, tipped your man on the shoulder when he's in the middle of his meal. You wouldn't mind taking a picture, would you, boy? And your man, you could see your man reluctantly, but it's just what Ollie was like. You couldn't say no to him, you know.
4 additional minutes for Finn Harps to try and snatch a point in towards McHugh. Well, he's not a bad guy to bring in. He's got over 170 League of Ireland goals. Breaks for Funston. Cole. And George Houston! Oh, they've smashed it! Finn Harps have got forward in a rare venture into the Derry penalty area, and a thumping header from Sean Houston.
Well, I think that's fitting for sure that Sean Houston has done an immense amount of work in the middle of the park. He's popped up in the box, he's made runs, and he's come up with an absolute stupendous header there in the far corner.
Well, it's his first goal in what is his second spell at Finn Harps. Another member of the ex-Derry City Brigade in this Harps 11.
Like, those games are massive. Those games are just, you know, they sort of always just take on life of their own. And, you know, I know Derry fans would say that it's just, or Derry players, and have said in the past, that it's just another game for them, but it's not. Like, when you're involved in them, when you're playing against them, and, you know, the fans, like, I've played in a lot of games in Finn Park and a lot of games around the country, and I never seen a group of players celebrate as hard when they score as Derry players do against Harps. And, you know, so it just shows you what it means to them, and so it should. You know, it's a derby, it's a local rivalry that's always been there, and it's great, and until maybe sometime that it spills over and it's not so great. So yeah, look, again, all credit to them. They were, you know, always come down big numbers, and it's bragging rights, and it's all that. So, but obviously to get one over on your rivals is huge, and that one being back in the Premier, and as I say, we fancy ourselves against anybody around that time, and Finn Park, just because of the way that we were set up and the way Ollie had us playing. And, you know, we were strong, and we were competitive and all over the park, and we had great experience, and, you know, so much quality in areas as well. So, like, at that time, it was a great time to be involved with Harps, and as I say, you know, going into those games, you always knew that, you know, if we were right and if everyone done their job, then, you know, we could definitely come out with a result. And
it wasn't what you would call football. You know, it wasn't a football game. It was like more of a lots of other things surrounding it, and it was like welly the ball up the pitch and all that sort of stuff, and we got sucked into that. But it was hard not to, and it was, you know, I feel sorry for the supporters because we weren't able to play. And
Tony has crossed the line. He's with Kevin Deary of Derry City.
Thank you, George. Yes, and we're just saying the ball hasn't got out of play very often, actually.
No, do you know what? It's been a nervy start from us, but we're starting to settle a wee bit. Hold on.
Oh my goodness me! Ryan Connolly given the opportunity with an empty net to aim for. Finn Harps take the lead.
Wow! Don't blink, George.
Which is exactly what both of us did, I think. I think it's Kieran Cole looking by the reaction from him. Derry's left back. He's played a poor pass on the inside. Have to throw it. Yeah, gets it back. This is the pass here. Sideways pass. It's always dangerous. You have to be so accurate with that pass. Look at Peter Cherry's not even inside the confines of the goal. George. I'm a little bit surprised he's that far outside his near post. Peter Cherry gives Ryan Connolly a huge amount of the goal to aim at. I understand he's leaning towards that side of the goal, maybe to offer himself up for a back pass.
We have a slightly bigger penalty, Tony, than we had maybe in previous years, and we've got to use it. You know, with the game on Monday coming up, with another game come Friday as well, like, you know, and we struggled especially last year with the 2 games in the weekend, and we have to change things up. But you know, we're putting out a side that'll probably do as well as any side we'd put out, whatever that may be, Tony.
He was a fantastic man and a fantastic football coach, and I had such a wonderful time playing in the League of Ireland underneath him, getting to know him as a football coach, but most importantly as a man, as a gentleman off the field. I just want to say thank you for believing in me and trusting me to bring me over to Ireland to experience memories that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. You'll be deeply missed. I just want to send my love, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for everything.
I remember they had a game down there, and they scored quite late on. It wasn't a great game. I think they played the better of the stuff. We were nervous, you know, because it's such a huge, you know, it's I suppose when you're seen as the bigger team. And you know, I suppose the responsibility of it all in terms of, you know, if we were to lose, what it meant to the club and what it meant to maybe to the coaching staff and to players, and you know, what's the fallout of maybe losing one of those games. So yes, we were nervous and they didn't play well. So I had scored late on, and you know, and then they were, you know, celebrating, and there was fireworks going off, and I just remember looking across thinking, that's good. Brilliant. They think this is over. They think they have us. And I just knew going back to Ballafay again, one of those nights, crowd, atmosphere, you know, pitch was going to be heavy, and you know, they played really good stuff, moved the ball fast, and I just thought, no, once we get them back to our place, once we turn this into a battle, they'll struggle, you know, and that's exactly where it materialised. You know, we got back, got that early goal again. It was a slog. It was tough again. There was no flow to the game. The pitch was heavy, and then I think you've seen by the photographs, like the jerseys at the end of the game. You know, everyone was covered in muck basically, and it wasn't the most attractive of evenings. But again, you know, that kind of knowing what we had in the locker and knowing, like, that resilience that I spoke about away at the start there, that was instilled in us. You know, that idea of us against everyone, roll up the sleeves. That's what he instilled, you know, in us. And as I say, once it came to those big games, you know, kind of through his time there, and I suppose our time there, you know, we always felt comfortable in those environments, and they were tough. They were tough games, absolutely, they were tough. But I think the more times you were in that situation, you kind of felt that you had the tools and you were equipped well enough to get on the right side of those games.
When I first started going to Finn Harps games during 2015 with my uncle and my cousin, we would come away from those games talking about the action on the pitch, yes, but a consistent talking point each time was the man on the sideline, Ollie Horgan. His enthusiasm for the game was striking for me as a young fan. But it was not just passion with Ollie. We could talk about how tactically astute he was as well. His defensively solid, pragmatic approach to the sport was a successful one to have, and this is evidenced during his second season when Harps conceded the least amount of goals in the first division as they went up. But they also scored plenty as well, with the third most goals in the division, which dispels the idea of Harps constantly grinding out results and scraping by during Ollie's tenure. They could be an attacking team.
Johnny, help him! We're balding.
Oh, Paddy McCourt. Paddy was just a genius, and I mean, anybody that looks at that goal that he scored against Sligo Rovers in the bottom end of will never ever forget. I think it was 5 players he beat, and he scored a goal against Sligo Rovers. Another favourite of mine would have been Ryan Conley, and Ryan definitely wouldn't have been here only for Ollie. Ollie could have persuaded anybody to come to play for Finn Harps on a very low weekly wage and not great facilities, but he was able to persuade them, and that was his what he could do. He could take anybody anywhere.
I think I was in a pretty low situation. I don't think I was getting really any offers from any teams, and he kind of called me and he kind of said, hey, we'd love to take you here. He kind of, liked what I was about as a player, and I remember talking on the phone, and he sounded mad on the phone as well. So I was just like, I don't know what this guy's about. I don't know nothing. Never met him. I've only seen him when I played against him, and just remember him, screaming on the sideline for 90 minutes. And I talked to Ollie and I said, hey, I'm still looking for other offers, but I appreciate it. And I think another offer didn't come, and so I kind of texted Ollie and was like, hey, I'd love to chat, and I'd love to talk about maybe coming to play for Finn Harps. And we sat down, we talked, and he kind of laid out why he wanted me to come play for Harps, what he thought of me as a player, and he asked about my family life and my parents and my wife. And so I think initially it was kind of like it was a genuine interest just in me as a person and not just a player. And that's kind of I'll give you like a week or something to decide, and then call me back, and I'll come back in person to talk about it. Whether you say yes or no, I'll come back and we can talk about it. And I think that really kind of brought it home. It was like, okay, he genuinely cares. He's a good person and a manager, and he wants to, whether it's good news or bad news, he wants to talk about it in person.
It falls to a Harpsman in the area, but it's hooked clear by Dundalk. Ryan Reaney returns it first time. Here's Boyd. Is he going to get on it? Brilliant control. Oh! Sean Boyd has drawn the sides level.
Oh, cannot believe that. That's just a ball over the top from Ryan Reaney. And to be fair, I'm not sure what Dundalk defenders played everybody on side. And what it was all about the quality. Brilliant first touch. Set himself up perfectly and slaughtered at home.
Without him, I wouldn't have gone on. He rolled the dice on me when I was coming back from my knee injury. And without him, I wouldn't have gone on to win the League of Shells or, had a career after him. I probably wouldn't have been playing football. So I've told him numerous times that I was very grateful for that, and I will forever owe him and have a debt to him. So, it was always something I was fully aware of, that without him, I wouldn't have been in this situation. Playing full-time football, playing European football, it wouldn't have happened if he hadn't rolled the dice and given me a chance again, another crack the whip. So, undeniably, he was himself. He did not care who was looking at him, who thought what of him. He was himself, and he was always going to be himself. And I suppose there's a little bit of that I've taken, not to his extent. He was on a different level, but I suppose when you look at him and he's so clearly determined to win and to be as best as he can, people are going to think whatever, but he didn't care. And it is an unbelievable trait to have. He didn't give any thought to whatever people were saying or whatever people were doing. He just was himself. When I done my knee, we were in Rochdale. Ollie was at the game. He was the PFI, put on a game against Rochdale. I done my cruciate, and I was on pain relief in a small little physio room, shivering, freezing cold. And Ollie stayed with me, making sure I was okay. He was texting me afterwards about scan results, asked me, all the details. So, I know for a fact that he is someone that would do anything for you. And if I had asked him over the last 2 years, I need your help, can you help me out? I know he would have done it, just one of them people who was so selfless and would have done anything for people who he thought deserved it.
We were in the first division at the time, and we could have been, we could have been playing anyone. There could have been a kid on the bench who had never made an appearance in the league, and Ollie would have a short note on the player, or you know, a little bit of insight that you're like, oh my God, how does he know this? But that was Ollie, just a sheer workaholic, an incredible, driven man to leave no stone unturned. We quickly, as a group of players, we obviously have our players' kitty where all the fines go into, you know, for our end of season night out or whatever, and we quickly realised that, you know, staff, Ollie himself would have been getting booked regularly. So we started to, you know, we brought in a fine for the staff where it was €10 for a yellow card, and Ollie contributed heavily to our night out at the end of the season, going a lot longer than maybe it should have done, with the amount of yellows that he picked up. And
you know, there is one where we were playing Shamrock Rovers the Friday night, and they had just played in Europe the week before, and Tala against AC Milan, and we all came into it was Letterkenny in the community centre there. We had a little room out the back, and where we done our video analysis, and we'd all come in and we sat down, and Ollie was going on and had a little chat, and we were going to watch a few clips now on Rovers and stuff, and so he plays the video, and it just starts showing us clips of how AC Milan have, you know, how they were pressing Rovers and how they were setting traps and getting the ball back and doing this and doing that, and we were all looking at each other like, oh, is this for real? And then he just stops the video and he was like, now look lads, we're no Milan, but I'm telling you we can get at them. And it was just brilliant at the time.
And we sent our cameras to United Park, where Drogheda United and Finn Harps were due to meet. But the game was postponed, as you know, when referee John McLaughlin deemed the lighting to be unsatisfactory. Marie Crowe was there.
But unfortunately, the referee decided that there was an issue with the floodlights, and he opted to postpone the game.
It's terrible for the league. It's awful for the outlook of the whole league in general.
What's going to happen?
No idea. We're thinking of going to Mother Hughes's here for a pint actually, so that might be the only way to solve this problem here. All right. Good luck, lads.
Great, thanks a million.